the most part, a lot of our general managers are conservative, poor drafters. So for the greater part of our history, minus, hitting on all the running backs, which is something. But yeah, it was kind of sad to see at first. But after I kind of sat with it for about a half a day or so, the person's opinion that I enjoyed the most, and I think I shared the opinion with the most, was Easton Freeze, who's a local media member here.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, yeah. So Easton, I felt like, was the most level-headed opinion through it, which was like, look, like let's take a look at the facts. Let's see what he did. And then I actually don't hate the firing based on these things, right? So my opinion was I basically drafted, toward that train of thought. So though I hated it at first, I see the vision, right? Essentially, we didn't know why at the time, but Rand fell out of favor with Miss Amy, and Chad didn't. I made the assumption, which is what's coming out now, which is basically what happened, where his path to building the team was very aggressive and spending a ton of money, which at the time Amy was like, okay, this sounds right. We were all super excited about it. I mean, you can't get more exciting than signing the top receiver in free agency and trading for the best corner in the game at the time. So I mean, how you can't possibly get upset about that. But it didn't pan out. L'Jarius ended up not playing, mostly because they found that his injury was potentially more serious. I think the real reason was they knew the season was chalked by the time he needed. So they're like, let's just sit him, which is fine. Whatever. I'm not mad at L'Jarius. And then Calvin, who, despite many drops, like he kind of carried the drop issues that he had from previous teams, which was the primary concern with his game. But he still was 1,000-yard receiver. Despite that, he had a couple of really big game-breaking games, which we knew he's capable of. And the great inconsistencies at quarterback, he was still 1,000-yard receiver. So there's still some optimism there. And when everything's said and done, he's not going to be the highest paid. He's like outside of the top 18 right now of highest paid receivers. So you live with that happily. So anyways, they move on from Rand. It makes sense. They want to go towards the Green Bay Packer way of draft, develop, be frugal in free agency, pick up where you need, and then sign your guys, move on from the ones you don't like, and then develop your players, which is all fine and good.